Finally, after years of waiting, the conclusion to Metalocalypse is here, and this is my spoiler-free review of the movie, Metalocalypse, Army of the Doomstar. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's Riff of the Week. And this, as I said in the intro, is my spoiler-free review of Metalocalypse, Army of the Doomstar. I loved this movie, but I got to be honest with you, I have to grade this movie on a curve a little bit. Let me explain. I've been wanting this conclusion to the story for so long. I had such a love for the show Metalocalypse, and the first two Death albums are unironically some of my favorite death metal albums ever. So it's with that fandom and that anticipation that I went into this movie. And I must say, it was a very satisfying end to the story. But there's just a big difference between a movie and a TV show. And some of what made the show so awesome was kind of lost by making it into a movie. Because this movie is the conclusion of the story, it has to focus on that ending. And it has to wrap up the final character developments. And it's apocalyptic stakes, so dethklok is on a mission. And it's because of that, they couldn't really sit on a gag the way that they used to in individual episodes of the TV show. Before watching the movie, I went back and watched a few old episodes of the show to kind of get a refresher on the story, and I was just reminded of what made me love this show so much. I immediately got those old feelings back. It reminded me of listening to those first Metallica albums for the first time, those first couple of Opeth albums for the first time, that magic of being hit by banger after banger, right one after the other. You know, the first episode is the Duncan Hills coffee jingle, and then the second episode is the Thunder Horse music video, followed by them recording Mermaider in a nuclear submarine in the Mariana Trench. Those first few episodes were like Brendan Small's life work. It's like all his most brilliant creativity brought to us for the first time, kind of a lot like a great band's debut album. Those episodes were free to just sit in the gag. They weren't burdened by the responsibility of having to complete this story that had been built up over years and years. I mean, what happened in those episodes? The first one, they go to the grocery store and Pickles talks about how metal lobsters are.
You put these little guys in boiling water and they shriek and they turn red and they die. Yes, sir. That is the most metal thing I ever heard in my whole life. High five.
And then in the second episode, Murderface eats a bunch of beans and he has gas while the band is trapped with him in a tiny submarine.
Maybe take it easy on those beans, Murderface.
Yeah, I know, man. Have a little decency. I mean, we're stuck together in a freaking submarine for...
This movie didn't have multiple seasons with multiple episodes to tell the story. There was no time for side throwaway stories like your mutilated personal chef getting sewn together wrong. There's no time for that. Am I saying the movie was bad? Absolutely not. What I am saying is there just weren't as many laughs and gags and silliness. This was a much more serious movie. There were more personal stories being told, and there were apocalyptic stakes. It's kind of like playing a video game. You play a video game and you're told about these world-ending stakes that the whole thing's gonna fall apart if you don't do these certain things that were prophesized. But then you go off and do a bunch of whimsical side missions and completely ignore the main story. Well, this isn't a game, so they couldn't run off and do a bunch of side quests. That's not to say there weren't any laughs, it's just they were like one-liners or maybe a funny visual, which I won't mention because we're not going to spoil anything here. This is the tale of the epic adventure, the final confrontation with Salacious, with the Metalocalypse, and it wraps up all of these long-running, built-up character arcs. Except Squizgar. My man Squizgar did not get enough lines and did not get enough things to do. So with all that said, was this a satisfactory conclusion to the story? I'm very happy to say yes. I've been saying for a while now that it must be the hardest thing in the world to do, to end an epic story in a satisfactory way. Game of Thrones couldn't do it, the new Star Wars movies couldn't do it, and I didn't watch these shows, but I saw a lot of people complaining about the ending of The Sopranos or Lost. It's just, these stories don't typically end well. It's hard to do. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with the creative writing on how they ended the show. A few years back, we got another movie that I had been wanting for years. We finally got the conclusion to Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted was prophesized to write a song that would save the world, and in the final Bill and Ted movie, they finally finished that story. Now, if you say that out loud, if you present me with that premise, okay, Bill and Ted are prophesized to write a song that will save the world, I don't think I'm creative enough where I could have written an ending where Bill and Ted write a song that saves humankind that wouldn't be cheesy or cringy. But at the end of the new Bill and Ted movie, they did do that. They did put a little twist on the prophecy. They put a little twist on how Bill and Ted write a song that saves the human race. And it actually wasn't cheesy or cringy. It was actually pretty wholesome. It was a very feel-good moment, and I thoroughly enjoyed the ending to Bill and Ted. Well, this Metalocalypse movie also has a nice little twist to the band writing a song that saves the world, and I really appreciate that. I won't give away the twist, but it felt good at the end. The story feels complete, and I'm so happy for Brendan Small that he actually got to finish telling his story when it looked like for so many years that that opportunity was going to get taken from him and from us. So if you're a fan of the show Metalocalypse the way that I was, then I highly recommend this movie. And if you don't have HBO Max, you want to get caught up because it's been 10 years since you saw the show, I'll put a link in the description to a video by the YouTube channel Doomstar Army that has a short recap of the story that'll get you ready for the movie. And now we got to talk about the riff of the week. Since Mermaider and Thunder Horse were the songs that really grabbed me when I first checked this show out as a young metalhead, I'm going to pick for this week's riff of the week Mermaider 3 off of Death Album 4, the newest dethklok album that came out alongside the movie. Let me know, what's your favorite dethklok song? What's your favorite Metalocalypse moment? Let me know in the comments. If you're listening audio only, all of my social media is in the description below. If you're on YouTube, check out another great episode of Heavy Metal Philosophy by clicking here. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.